I sat curled up on our couch, watching Ethan's phone light up for the third time in 10 minutes. He grabbed it quickly, silencing it without even looking at the screen. "Who keeps texting you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Just work stuff." He didn't meet my eyes. "At 9 p.m. on a Tuesday?" He sighed, that exhausted sigh I'd been hearing a lot lately. "Maya, please." "Not tonight." "Not tonight?" My voice rose despite my best efforts. "You've been coming home late for weeks. You barely talk to me anymore. Your phone is constantly buzzing, and you hide it like what?" He finally looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes. Frustration? Guilt? "What exactly are you accusing me of?" "Who is she, Ethan?" He stood up, running his hands through his hair. "Maya, not this again. I'm exhausted from work. Can we not do this tonight?" "You're always exhausted. You're always working late. You're always, I'm going to bed." He walked past me toward our bedroom. "We'll talk when you're being rational." Rational. The word stung like a slap. After he left, I sat there in the dark, my mind racing. 3 years together, and suddenly I was the irrational one for noticing he'd changed? My phone buzzed. "Sophie, can I come over?" "Got wine," her text read. 20 minutes later, my best friend since college sat across from me. Pouring generous glasses of red wine. "He's definitely hiding something," I told her. Accepting the glass with shaking hands, Sophie bit her lip, looking uncomfortable. "Maya, I don't want to make things worse, but..." "What?" "Just tell me. I saw him at that cafe downtown last week. You know, the one near his office?" My stomach dropped. "And?" "He was with someone. I couldn't see who clearly, but Maya..." They looked close. Like laughing together, leaning in. I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't sure, but now with everything you're telling me... The room spun slightly. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I hoped I was wrong. I hoped there was an innocent explanation. She reached across and squeezed my hand. "Maya, you deserve better than this." After Sophie left, I lay awake in our bed, Ethan sleeping soundly beside me, or pretending to. My mind kept replaying every late night, every avoided conversation, every hidden phone screen. I grabbed my phone, and before I could talk myself out of it, downloaded a dating app. My heart pounded as I created a profile, using photos from before Ethan, back when I smiled without forcing it. If he could betray me, I could do the same. I'd show him exactly what it felt like. The notification came the next morning while I was getting ready for work. "You look too sad in your photos to be on a dating app." I stared at the message from Daniel. His profile showed a guy around my age with dark hair and an easy smile. Something about his directness made me laugh, bitter but still a laugh. "Maybe that's why I'm on here," I typed back. "Bad breakup?" "Not yet, but probably heading there. Coffee?" I'm a good listener. No pressure. I should have said no. I should have deleted the app. Instead, I wrote, "Tomorrow at 2. Cafe on Main Street? See you then." When I walked into the cafe, Daniel was already there, standing when he saw me. In person, he was more attractive than his photos, confident without being cocky. "Maya?" He smiled. "You look even sadder in person." That guy must be really stupid. I found myself smiling back. "You don't waste time, do you?" "Life's too short." He pulled out my chair. "So tell me about yourself." And by that, I mean tell me what he did to make you look like that. Something about his directness broke through my defenses. I told him everything, the late nights, the hidden phone, Sophie's sighting at the cafe, the way Ethan made me feel crazy for noticing. "He doesn't deserve you," Daniel said simply, his dark eyes focused entirely on me. Not on his phone, not glancing around the room, just on me. When was the last time Ethan had looked at me like that? "You don't even know me," I said. "I know you deserve better than someone who makes you question your own instincts." We talked for 2 hours. He asked about my work as a graphic designer, my family, my favorite movies. He actually listened to my answers, asked follow-up questions, remembered details. When we left, Lisa from my office was walking by. Her eyes widened when she saw us. The next day, she cornered me by the coffee machine. "Maya, who was that guy?" "Just a friend." "Maya." She lowered her voice. "I know you're hurt. I know things with Ethan have been rough, but this isn't like you." "Maybe it should be," I said, surprising myself with the bitterness in my voice. "Be careful, please." But I didn't want to be careful. I wanted to feel wanted again. Daniel texted constantly over the next few days. "Good morning, beautiful. How's your day going?" Just saw something that reminded me of you. Each message felt like a small rebellion against Ethan's coldness. Daniel made me feel seen, desired, important. All the things I'd been missing at home. We met for coffee again. Then dinner. Then a walk in the park where he held my hand and told me I deserved someone who would never make me doubt their feelings. "You're too good for him," Daniel said, stopping under a streetlight. "You know that, right?" Ethan's sister called that evening while I was texting Daniel. "Maya, I need to talk to you about Ethan. He's not—" I cut her off, irritation flaring. "I know, Cassie. I know what he's doing. No, Maya, you don't understand. I have to go." I hung up before she could finish. I didn't want to hear excuses for him. I didn't want to hear how I should be more understanding, more patient, more anything. That weekend, Daniel asked me to dinner at a nicer restaurant. Afterward, walking to our cars, he stopped and looked at me seriously. "Maya, I don't want to pressure you, but I can't stop thinking about you. I know your situation is complicated, but I want to be with you. Really be with you." My phone buzzed. "Ethan, working late again?" "Don't wait up." I looked at Daniel, at his honest expression, at someone who actually wanted to spend time with me. "There's a hotel nearby," I heard myself say. "Are you sure about this?" Daniel's text appeared as I sat in my car outside the hotel. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. Was I sure? No. But I was hurt and angry and tired of being made to feel crazy. "Completely," I typed back. The lie tasted bitter even through a screen. Room 412. The hallway seemed endless, my heels clicking on the carpet like a countdown. Daniel was waiting by the door, and when he saw me, his expression softened. "Hey," he said gently. "We don't have to do this if you're not ready." "I'm ready." Another lie. The room was nicer than I expected. Modern, clean, with soft lighting that should have been romantic. Daniel was patient, gentle, asking if I was okay at every step. But lying there afterward, staring at the ceiling, I felt nothing like victory. Just hollow, empty, wrong. "You're quiet," Daniel said, running his fingers through my hair. "Just thinking." "About him?" "Yeah." He sat up, pulling me closer. "Maya, you deserve someone who chooses you first. Not as revenge, but because they genuinely want you." His words sounded so sincere. For a moment, I let myself imagine that maybe this wasn't just revenge. Maybe I'd stumbled into something real. Maybe Daniel could be my fresh start instead of just a mistake. "I should go," I said, already gathering my clothes. "Will I see you again?" I paused at the door. "I don't know. I need to figure some things out first." The drive home felt surreal. I kept expecting to feel different, triumphant, vindicated, something. Instead, I just felt sick. I'd done it. I'd actually done it. And now I had to face Ethan and pretend everything was normal, at least until I figured out what to say. But when I walked into our apartment, the lights were on. Ethan was sitting on the couch with Sophie. My heart stopped. "Maya!" Ethan stood up, his face breaking into a nervous smile. "You're home. Good. Great. We need to talk." "What's going on?" My voice came out strangled. Did he know? Had Daniel somehow already told him? Sophie smiled at me, but something in her expression seemed off. "Sad, knowing?" "Sit down," Ethan said, gesturing to the chair across from them. "Please." I sat, my mind racing through 1,000 scenarios, none of them good. Ethan took a deep breath, then looked at Sophie, who nodded encouragingly. "I've been distant lately," he started. "I know that, and I'm sorry I made you worry. But there was a reason, Maya. A good reason." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. The world stopped spinning. "I've been working with a jeweler," he said, opening the box to reveal a delicate diamond ring that caught the light and scattered it across the room. "I was planning to propose next month for our anniversary, but Sophie convinced me I should show you now. Explain why I've been so weird." I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. Couldn't process what I was seeing. "He's been saving for 2 years," Sophie said softly, her eyes on me. "He wanted it to be perfect. Your dream ring, exactly the way you described it to me when we had that girls' night last year. Remember?" I remembered. We'd been wine drunk and scrolling through engagement rings online, and I'd pointed to one. Simple, elegant, with a pear-shaped stone. This ring was identical. "Maya?" Ethan's voice was nervous, hopeful, vulnerable in a way I hadn't heard in months. I know this isn't how I planned to do it, but what do you think? My mouth opened. No words came out. All I could think was, what have I done? Ethan, my voice cracked. I need time. This is so sudden. The hope in his eyes flickered and died. Sudden? Maya, we've been together 3 years. I thought you wanted this. I do. I couldn't look at him. Couldn't look at the ring. It's just overwhelming. Sophie touched his arm gently. Maybe she just needs to process, Ethan. It's a big step. Give her space. Right. Yeah. Of course. He closed the ring box with a soft click that sounded like a gunshot in the quiet room. Take all the time you need. He left the room. And Sophie followed, but not before giving me a long, searching look I couldn't interpret. I sat there alone, staring at the spot where the ring had been, and wanted to scream. The next week was torture. Every time Ethan looked at me with that hopeful, confused expression, guilt churned in my stomach like acid. Every time he touched me, casual, affectionate touches, I flinched, remembering Daniel's hands on my skin just hours before. Daniel didn't make it easier. His texts came constantly. When can I see you again? I can't stop thinking about you. Maya, you've changed something in me. I think I'm falling for you. At first, I didn't respond. But then, lying awake at 3 a.m. while Ethan slept peacefully beside me, I started typing back. If Daniel and I became something real, then maybe what I'd done wasn't just revenge. Maybe it was fate pushing me toward something better. The rationalization tasted like poison. But I swallowed it anyway. My mother's call came on Thursday. Her voice tight with concern. Ethan called me Maya. My stomach dropped. What did he say? He's worried about you. He says you've been distant since he showed you the ring. He thinks maybe you're having second thoughts about the relationship. Mom, it's complicated. Marriage is always complicated, but that boy loves you. He's been working himself to death to give you the life you deserve. Don't throw away something real for, she paused. For whatever's making you act like this? You don't understand. Then explain it to me, but I couldn't. How could I explain that I'd destroyed everything based on suspicions that were apparently completely unfounded? I agreed to meet Daniel again. I told myself I just needed to talk to him, to figure out if what I felt was real or just guilt manifesting as attachment. We were supposed to meet at the cafe. Our cafe. I'd started thinking of it. I arrived 15 minutes early, ordered a coffee I didn't drink, and waited, and waited. After an hour, I texted, Daniel? No response. Where are you? Nothing. Is everything okay? Radio silence. The coffee grew cold in front of me. Other customers came and went. The barista started giving me pitying looks. He wasn't coming. 3 days of silence became a week. I texted Daniel probably 50 times, each message more desperate than the last. His phone went straight to voicemail every time I called. His dating profile was completely gone, like it had never existed. Like he had never existed. I found myself crying in the office bathroom on Tuesday afternoon, which is where Lisa found me. Maya? Oh my God, what happened? I made a terrible mistake, I sobbed into my hands. And now I can't fix it. I can't fix any of it. She handed me paper towels, waiting patiently while I tried to pull myself together. Does this have to do with that guy from the cafe? The one I saw you with? I nodded, unable to speak. Maya. Her voice was gentle but firm. Men like that are everywhere. They say what you want to hear, make you feel special, then vanish like smoke. You're not the first woman he's done this to, and you won't be the last. It's not just that, I whispered. It's everything. I couldn't finish. Hey. She squeezed my shoulder. Whatever happened, you can get through this. But you need to be honest with Ethan. He deserves that much. But how could I be honest? How could I tell him that while he was planning our future, I was destroying it? At home, Ethan noticed my distress immediately. Maya, talk to me. He sat beside me on the couch, his hand finding mine. What's wrong? Is it the proposal? Because we don't have to get engaged if you're not ready. I just want you happy. That's all I've ever wanted. His kindness was a knife twisting in my chest. I'm fine. Just stressed about work. You're not fine. You've been crying. Please, just tell me what's going on. I can't. The words came out as a broken whisper. He looked hurt, but he nodded. Okay, but when you're ready to talk, I'm here. I'm always here. Sophie came over that evening with Thai food, and that sympathetic expression I'd once found comforting. Ethan called me, she said, settling onto my couch. He's really worried about you. He thinks you don't love him anymore. It's not that. Then what is it? She looked at me with those wide, concerned eyes. Maya, you're my best friend. You can tell me anything. You know that, right? I almost did. The confession was right there on my tongue. I cheated on him with someone who ghosted me, and now I hate myself and don't know what to do. But something stopped me. Some instinct I didn't fully understand yet. I'm just scared of marriage, I think, I said instead. It's such a big commitment, Sophie nodded slowly. That's normal. But Maya, Ethan's one of the good ones. Trust me, men like him don't come around often. You'd be stupid to let him go. Something in her tone made me look up sharply, but her expression was perfectly neutral. You really think so? I know so. She squeezed my hand. Don't throw away something real over cold feet. After she left, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about her words. She was right about one thing. I'd been incredibly stupid, just not in the way she thought. I tried to move forward. I really did. I stopped checking my phone for messages from Daniel. I smiled when Ethan kissed me goodbye in the mornings. I pretended everything was normal, but it wasn't normal. Every time Ethan touched me, I thought of Daniel. Every time he said, I love you, I heard my own lies echoing back. The guilt was eating me alive from the inside out. Come on, Maya, Ethan pleaded on Saturday morning. Marcus is having a barbecue. We haven't socialized in weeks. People are starting to worry. I'm not really in a social mood. Please? For me? Just a few hours. I couldn't keep saying no without raising more suspicions. So I agreed. Marcus's backyard was full of people. Ethan's friends from college, co-workers, couples I recognized from past gatherings. Everyone seemed so happy, so normal. I felt like an alien observing a species I no longer belonged to. Maya, can I talk to you for a second? Marcus pulled me aside away from the crowd. His expression was serious. Sure, what's up? Listen, I don't know what's going on with you two, but Ethan's been through enough. His ex really did a number on him, and he was terrified to trust again. You were the one who made him believe in love again. Shame burned through me. I know, I do love him. Then what's the problem? Why do you look like you're at a funeral instead of happy your boyfriend wants to marry you? It's complicated, Marcus, he frowned. Is this about the thing that happened 3 months ago? Because I know it was hard on both of you, but what thing? Marcus looked confused. The thing with his dad? When he had the heart attack and Ethan was practically living at the hospital? Sophie didn't tell you? My blood ran cold. What are you talking about? Ethan's dad had a heart attack 3 months ago. He was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Ethan was there every night, barely sleeping. Sophie was the one visiting him, bringing him food and coffee. She promised to keep you updated since Ethan didn't want to burden you with everything while you were stressed about your work deadline. The world tilted. Sophie never told me anything. What? Marcus's eyes widened. She said you two talked about it constantly, that you were sending your love but couldn't visit because of work. But Sophie had never mentioned it. Not once. Not a single word about Ethan's father or the hospital or any of it. Marcus, I need to go. I found Ethan by the grill, laughing at something someone said. He looked happy, genuinely happy for the first time in months. Ethan, we need to leave, now. His smile faded. What, why? We just got here, please. I'll explain in the car. That night, I confronted Sophie. She came over reluctantly, her expression guarded. Why didn't you tell me about Ethan's dad? I demanded before she'd even fully entered my apartment. She sighed. Maya, I thought Ethan told you himself eventually. Marcus said you promised to keep me updated. He said you told him we talked about it constantly. I was trying to help both of you. You were stressed about work and Ethan was falling apart. I was just being a good friend. By lying? By keeping something that important from me? I wasn't lying. I was protecting you both from unnecessary stress. Sophie, what's really going on? Nothing. You're being paranoid. She grabbed her purse. I should go. You clearly need space to work through whatever this is. After she left, I opened my phone and started scrolling through old messages. That's when I noticed something I'd somehow missed before. Sophie had been texting Ethan constantly over the past 3 months. Not just a few messages here and there, hundreds of them. Long conversations late at night. Inside jokes. Emojis I'd never seen her use with anyone else. My hands started shaking as I checked the timestamps. Many of the messages were sent during times when Ethan said he was working late, when I'd been suspicious. when Sophie had been feeding my paranoia about him cheating. Oh God, had Sophie been the one he was with at that cafe? I didn't sleep that night. I went through every message, every interaction, every moment over the past 3 months, seeing them all in a new, horrible light. Sophie suggesting coffee when she knew I'd be stressed about work. Sophie offering to check on Ethan when he was working late. Sophie planting the seed about seeing him with someone at the cafe. Sophie being the one to convince him to show me the ring early. Every piece fit together like a nightmare puzzle. The next morning, exhausted and desperate for answers, I went to my usual coffee shop near the office. I was staring blankly at my phone when a woman approached my table. "You're Maya, right?" I looked up at a pretty woman in her mid-20s with kind eyes and an uncertain expression. "Do I know you?" "I'm Rachel. We met briefly at Sophie's birthday party last year. I saw you with Daniel a few weeks ago." The mention of his name made my stomach clench. "What about him? Can I sit?" This is going to sound weird, but I think you need to hear it. She sat down before I could respond. "I need to warn you about Daniel. I saw the way you were looking at him, and I recognized that look because I had it once too." "He ghosted me," I said flatly. "So you're a little late with the warning." "I know. He does that." She leaned forward. "Daniel targets women in vulnerable relationships. He's good at identifying the cracks, making you feel seen and special. Then he sleeps with you and disappears. It's like a game to him. I was one of his victims 2 years ago. I threw away a good relationship for him, and then he just vanished." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I saw your face that day at the cafe. I saw you looking at him like he was your salvation. And I wanted you to know, whatever you sacrificed for him wasn't worth it. He's not real. He's a predator who gets off on ruining relationships." She left her coffee untouched and walked away, leaving me sitting there feeling hollow and used and stupid. I'd destroyed my relationship for a man who did this professionally. For sport. That evening, Ethan came home early. I heard his keys in the lock and steeled myself for another night of pretending everything was okay. But when he walked in, his face was different. Closed off. Cold in a way I'd never seen before. "We need to talk." His voice was flat, emotionless. He placed his phone on the table between us like evidence. "Daniel contacted me this morning. My world imploded." "Ethan!" "He sent me everything. The messages between you two. Photos of you at the hotel. He said he thought I deserved to know the truth about the woman I wanted to marry." I couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. Couldn't do anything but stare at him as tears started streaming down my face. "Why?" His voice cracked on that single word. "I've been killing myself trying to figure out what I did wrong, and all this time you were..." He couldn't even finish the sentence. "I thought you were cheating," I whispered. "I saw you being distant, and Sophie said she saw you with someone, and I just..." "With who, Maya?" His voice rose. "When would I have time to cheat? Between working overtime to pay for your dream ring and taking care of my dying father?" The word dying hit me like a physical blow. "Your father, Sophie never told me he was in the hospital." "I swear, Ethan, if I had known..." "Don't." He held up his hand, and I saw it was shaking. "Don't you dare blame this on Sophie. She's been the only one actually supporting me through everything. She even helped cover for you when you were too busy to visit Dad at the hospital. She told me you were sending your love, that you were thinking about him. But you never even knew he was sick, did you?" "No," I sobbed. "I didn't know." "But Ethan, please, let me explain." "There's nothing to explain. You cheated. You threw away 3 years because of some paranoid fantasy in your head. And you know what the worst part is?" He looked at me with such devastation that I wanted to die. "I was actually worried about you. I thought maybe I was working too hard. Maybe I was neglecting you. It never once occurred to me that you'd do something like this." "Ethan, please, I'm leaving. I'll come back for my stuff later." He walked toward the door and I stumbled after him. "Where are you going?" "To Cassie's. Sophie's meeting me there. At least she actually cares about me." The door closed behind him with a soft click that sounded like the end of everything. I don't know how long I sat there crying before I grabbed my phone with shaking hands. I needed someone, anyone. I called Sophie. "Sophie, Ethan knows. He knows everything." "I know," she said quietly. "He called me. Can you come over, please?" "I can't do this alone." There was a long pause. "Maya, I don't think that's a good idea anymore." "What?" "Sophie, you're my best friend. I need you. I'm actually at Cassie's place right now. With Ethan, the world stopped. What? Maya, she sighed. I've been in love with Ethan for years. Since college, actually. I watched him choose you at that party junior year, and I stayed quiet because you were my friend. But these past few months, helping him through his dad's illness, planning that proposal, I realized he deserved someone who would never betray him the way you did. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what I was hearing. You kept information from me. You planted suspicions in my head. The realization crashed over me like a wave. You wanted me to cheat. You wanted me to ruin everything. I didn't make you do anything, Maya. Her voice was calm, almost clinical. You did that all on your own. I just stopped protecting you from your own worst instincts. You manipulated me. You lied to me. I never lied. I just didn't correct your assumptions. There's a difference. Sophie, please. Daniel contacted me a week ago, told me what happened between you two. I told him to tell Ethan, because Ethan deserved to know the truth. You told him to? My voice rose to a scream. You orchestrated this entire thing. I was there for him when you weren't, Maya. I supported him when you were too wrapped up in your own insecurities to see what was right in front of you. And now he finally sees what I've known all along. We're better suited for each other. He'll figure out what you did. He'll see through you. Will he? Because from where I'm standing, I'm the loyal friend who helped him through the hardest time of his life. And you're the cheater who betrayed him for some random guy from a dating app. She paused. Funny how that works? Sophie, please. We've been friends for 10 years, and I've loved him for almost as long. Friendship only goes so far, Maya. You're a monster. No. I'm just someone who was patient enough to wait for you to destroy yourself. Which, by the way, you did spectacularly. Don't call me again, Maya. Ethan and I are going to visit his father tomorrow at the hospital. You know, the man you never bothered to see even once. She hung up. I sat there in my empty apartment, the phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the dial tone. I'd lost everything. My boyfriend, my best friend, my dignity, my self-respect, all gone. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, was that I'd handed it all away myself. Sophie had planted the seeds, but I'd watered them. She'd given me the gun, but I'd pulled the trigger. I looked around the apartment Ethan and I had shared for 2 years. His jacket was still on the back of the chair. His coffee mug was still in the sink from this morning. Evidence of a life that was already over. I'd wanted revenge for a betrayal that never existed. Instead, I'd committed the ultimate betrayal myself, and now I was the one left behind, alone, while the two people I'd trusted most in the world moved forward together. The next 3 days were a blur. I called in sick to work. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, every choice, every mistake. On the 4th day, my younger sister Jade showed up at my door. She took one look at me and came inside without asking. Maya, what the hell happened? Mom's been trying to call you for days. I can't talk to her. Well, you're going to talk to me. She sat on the couch, her 19-year-old face set in an expression of determination. Ethan called Mom. He told her you cheated on him. Fresh tears started flowing. I'd thought I was all cried out, but apparently not. Maya, what were you thinking? I don't know, I whispered. I really don't know. Did you even talk to him before cheating? Like actually communicate? I tried. Did you though? Her voice was sharp. Or did you just decide you knew what was happening and acted? I couldn't answer because she was right. I'd never given Ethan a chance to explain. I'd just assumed, jumped to conclusions, and destroyed everything based on those assumptions. His dad is dying, Maya. Did you know that? No, Sophie never told me. Sophie's the worst. I never liked her. Jade shook her head. But she didn't make you cheat. You did that all on your own. The brutal honesty was somehow worse than sympathy would have been. My mother came the next day. She'd aged since I'd last seen her a month ago, or maybe that was just my guilt making me see things. She sat beside me on the couch, but she didn't hug me. Didn't offer comfort. Just looked at me with profound sadness. I raised you better than this, Maya. I know. That boy loved you. Truly deeply loved you, and Sophie, I never liked her. Always something calculating behind those smiles. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have listened? No, I wouldn't have. I'd been so sure I knew everything, knew everyone's motives, knew what was best. What do I do now, Mom? You live with your choices. You learn from them. And you do better next time. She left shortly after. And I felt more alone than ever. The following week, I started seeing Dr. Chen, a therapist Jade had recommended. I ruined my entire life for revenge that wasn't even warranted, I told her in our first session. What do I do now? You accept responsibility. You learn. You grow. Dr. Chen leaned forward, her expression kind but firm. Maya, you can't undo what you did, but you can choose who you become after this. That's always within your control. I don't know who I am anymore. Then this is your chance to figure it out. The real you, not the version you thought you should be. I spent an entire night writing a letter to Ethan, not asking for forgiveness. I didn't deserve that. Not making excuses, just apologizing truly and completely for everything. I sent it without expecting a response. 2 weeks later, Marcus texted me. Ethan's dad passed away yesterday. Funeral's on Saturday. He wanted me to tell you that you shouldn't come. Sophie will be there as his girlfriend. Girlfriend. That word shattered whatever small pieces of me were left intact. I'd lost him completely. And she'd won. Not through being better, but through being patient, manipulative, and willing to destroy a 10-year friendship to get what she wanted. But I'd let her. Every step of the way, I'd made the choices that brought me here. 6 months passed slowly. I saw their relationship updates on social media before I finally blocked them both. Ethan and Sophie smiling at the camera, happy, in love, living the life I'd thrown away. She'd even posted a photo wearing the ring, my ring, the one he'd chosen for me. After that, I deleted all my social media accounts. If I couldn't see it, maybe it would hurt less. I moved to a smaller apartment across town. Cheaper, but also not haunted by memories of Ethan. I threw myself into work. Started actually attending therapy twice a week. Joined a gym I actually went to. Lisa became a real friend. Someone who knew my mistakes and stayed anyway. You're doing better, she observed over coffee one afternoon. You look less haunted. I feel less haunted, I admitted. But I also feel empty, like I'm just going through motions. That's called healing. It's not pretty, but it's necessary. How long until I stop feeling like this? As long as it takes? There's no timeline for healing from self-inflicted wounds. Rachel, the woman who'd warned me about Daniel, reached out through a mutual friend. We met for coffee. I heard what happened with Sophie and Ethan. I'm sorry. Don't be. I did this to myself. Maybe. But she manipulated you. That counts for something. It doesn't change what I chose to do. She planted seeds, but I watered them. Daniel was the weapon, but I pulled the trigger. I stirred my coffee absently. The consequences are mine to bear. That's very mature of you. No, it's just the truth. I'm trying to be honest with myself now. It's all I can do. I ran into Cassie at the grocery store in month 7. She was in the frozen food aisle, and when she saw me, her expression shifted to something like pity. How is he? I couldn't help asking. Happy, she said simply. Sophie takes good care of him? She's not you, but maybe that's what he needs now. Someone he can trust. The words stung, but I nodded. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him, Maya, he's moved on. You should too. She walked away with her cart, and I stood there surrounded by frozen pizzas and ice cream, finally understanding that some things, once broken, can never be repaired. I'd wanted revenge for a betrayal that never existed. In seeking it, I'd committed the ultimate betrayal against the one person who'd truly loved me. Now I was alone, learning to live with the consequences of my choices. Sophie and Ethan were together, happy, building a future, not because of fate or destiny or because they were somehow meant to be, but because of my choices, every single one of them, and that was the hardest truth to accept, that I had no one to blame but myself. Dr. Chen said that acceptance was the first step toward genuine healing. That taking responsibility without making excuses was how you grew into a better person. I was trying. Every day I was trying. But some nights, lying alone in my small apartment, I still wondered what my life would have looked like if I'd just talked to Ethan that Tuesday evening. Instead of assuming the worst, if I'd answered Cassie's call and let her explain. If I'd trusted the man who loved me instead of destroying everything we'd built, but I hadn't. And now I lived with those choices. The story didn't end with redemption or forgiveness, or a happy ending. It ended with me alone, learning slowly and painfully that some mistakes cost you everything, and that sometimes the person you hurt most is yourself.